All right, we are right in the middle of this massive shift in enterprise tech, and it's all about agentic AI. We've got these incredibly powerful models, right? But the real question, the one everyone's asking, is how do we let them do actual meaningful work without, causing a total catastrophe? That's the puzzle we're going to unpack today.
So let's just start with the question that is absolutely keeping CIOs and tech leaders awake at night. The dream, of course, is this autonomous AI workforce. But the nightmare? A single, unsupervised agent making one tiny, catastrophic error. See, this is the fundamental problem we have to solve.
And the best way to wrap your head around this is with an analogy. On one side, you've got the AI brain, these incredible foundation models like GPT-4. But on their own, they're kind of like a genius with zero impulse control. What every single enterprise desperately needs is the nervous system, a control layer that gives it rules, governance, memory, and security. Okay, so this leads us straight into our first big topic, what we're calling the rogue agent problem. This is really the core conflict that every company is facing as they try to deploy autonomous AI right now. It's this classic, super high-stakes dilemma. I mean, on one hand, the potential ROI from an AI workforce that can manage your supply chain or handle customer service, it's just massive. But then, on the other hand, the risk of what's called rogue execution, an AI just going completely off the rails, is frankly terrifying. And let's be super clear. These aren't just some vague fears. They are specific technical vulnerabilities. We're talking about an agent being tricked into leaking sensitive customer data, or one agent figuring out how to escalate its own permissions by exploiting another one. And without auditability, you can't even figure out what went wrong after the fact. These are the real-world attack vectors that demand a totally new kind of defense. So to really understand the solution, we've got to take a quick look at how we even got here, because this journey has been incredibly fast, moving from just simple prompts to being on the edge of a whole new era of AI execution.
I mean, think about it. Just a couple of years ago, we were all in the prompt era, just having simple one-to-one chats with a bot. Then we moved into the agent pilot era, where companies started building these useful but totally siloed and insecure single-purpose agents. And that brings us right to today, to what we're calling the OS era, where the focus isn't really on the model anymore, but on the system that can safely manage hundreds of them at once.
And that system, well, it has a name. This is the answer to all the chaos from those early agent pilots. This is the Agentic operating system. So what is it exactly? Well, the Global Tech Council defines it as a control plane. And listen to the keywords here: governed execution, permissions, audit logs, and reliability. This isn't about making flashy demos. It's about making AI safe and dependable enough for real mission-critical work. And this brings us right back to that central idea. The Agentic OS is that missing nervous system. It takes the raw intelligence of the AI brain and connects it to the rest of the enterprise in a way that is controlled, secure, and totally accountable. Okay, so how does it actually work? Let's pop the hood for a minute and really look inside this control plane. A real Agentic OS is built on a few key pillars. You need identity and policy, which is basically role-based access control for your AIs. You need an orchestrator to manage all of them, a secure tool access layer to connect to things like your CRM, and, this is crucial, memory and audit trails so the system knows what it did and you can prove it later. Now, this is a huge architectural shift. We're moving away from this idea of a single, all-powerful super agent, which is just way too risky and inefficient. Instead, the OS orchestrates these pods of smaller, specialized agents that work together, each with a very specific, limited job. Think of it like moving from a giant monolith to a microservices model, but for AI. Here's a perfect example of how that works. Say a customer email comes in. A triage agent grabs it first. Then, a classifier agent analyzes it, figures out is this a sales lead or support ticket, and routes it. Finally, a specialized resolution agent is given permission, and only permission, to access the CRM to update that customer's record. It's like an assembly line for digital labor, and the OS is the factory manager making sure everything runs smoothly. But of all the features we could talk about, this is the big one. This is the one that lets CIOs actually sleep at night. The human in the loop. It's the emergency brake, the safety net, that ensures an AI can never make a high-stakes decision all on its own. So picture this classic scenario. An agent is doing its job, and it determines that it needs to place a $50,000 supply chain order.
Now, in an unsupervised system, it might just do it.
But not with an OS. Nope. The control plane immediately sees this as a high-stakes action based on rules you've already set. It slams on the brakes, halts the process, and flags it, sending an alert that a human needs to approve this. The rogue action is stopped before it can ever happen. And then, finally, a manager can review the action, maybe on a dashboard, and give the final go-ahead with a click. Only then does the OS execute the approved command. It's the perfect blend of AI speed and human oversight. And behind the scenes, every single step, from the agent's initial idea to the human's final click, is logged. This creates this unbreakable audit trail. And that's not just a nice to have, it's an absolute must-have for any company that needs to meet compliance standards like SOC 2 or HIPAA. So what does all this really mean for the bigger picture? Well, this brings us to the future of digital labor itself. You know, this quote from Futuria just absolutely hits the nail on the head. It captures the paradigm shift perfectly. We are moving beyond just simple one-shot commands. The future is about delegation, not instruction. I mean, think about it. You don't tell a great employee exactly how to do every little thing, right? You give them a goal, a responsibility, like manage our inventory levels or improve customer satisfaction. An Agentic OS lets you manage your new digital workforce in the exact same way. And so, we end up right back where we started. In this massive race to deploy AI, almost everyone is focused on getting the most powerful brain. But the real question, the one that is going to determine who wins and who fails in the enterprise, is this. You've got the brains, but do you have the governed, secure, and auditable nervous system to actually control it?